Right before the start of the race, front camera wasn't working. So throwing that one into the back pocket, switching the back to the front right as the gun goes off wasn't the greatest way to start this race. This is the Boise Twilight Criterium. This is the men's 3 and Masters 1, 2, 3 race. I think I was the only just category 3 racer. I'm not quite old enough to be a Masters, but I felt like this was a better race for me. Fewer riders, probably fewer out-of-towners, and I don't know. I had a family reunion that I needed to get to, and this was earlier as well. Those are some of my excuses for not doing the 1, 2, 3 race.
Hey, Tony, just give me the nod when you go for the grip. I'll go with you.
Tony's such a good dude. He actually got on the podium last year from a breakaway, which was rad. And so I was just joking with him, telling him I was going to go with him. Reality, no way I'd be able to stay away in a break on this course. Classic 4-corner crit. Pretty rad because you just go right in front of the Capitol building, right downtown Boise. Super fun atmosphere. A lot of people come out and support. Last year I raced this in the 4-5 race, and I actually put a lot of pressure on myself, really wanted to get on the podium. I felt like I could do it. I barely squeaked on with a 3rd place last year. This year, it being a higher category, I had no expectations. I just wanted to race, which was kind of a mistake, I think. So, and I'm going to break it down on why that is. Also, just a quick note on like how cool of an event this is for the whole community. To the right here, you can see like an expo center, like Legion has a tent there. This is like pre-fight after race. Legion, that was the next race after this in Salt Lake. So still very reputable racing team. But anyways, they also have a kids race. So my son and my daughter did that. And my son, I got him a road bike and it's too big for him, but I let him race it. He actually went down in this corner right here. And I went and found him in one of the medical tents. They called me and let me know that he went down, and he said his front wheel got taken out around the corner. And here's a picture of him. He's all smiles, but it was kind of funny because if you ever like skin your arm or like take skin off, it doesn't hurt for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it's just like scorching pain. And so it was funny because this picture, he's all smiles, thought it was kind of fun, and he got attention from all these like college sports physio people, and then a few minutes later he just like starts crying. Couldn't console him for like an hour. Really early in the race here, I let this gap open up. I wasn't about to chase it. Right here on this backside of the course, there was a fairly decent headwind component that made it even of a bigger reason not to chase this down. This happened a few times. Let that gap open. I wasn't going to be the one to close it down. People were inevitably going to chase it, and I could just slot in. Trying to conserve as best I could. I mean, like I said, Tony last year, he did get away in a breakaway, got on the podium, but this course does not lend itself extremely well to breakaways. But anyways, I was definitely sitting in for the final sprint. All right, let's talk about a few of the known commodities here. I did point out Tony on Say Nows earlier. Here to the right, we have Brian racing with Bob's Bikes. Right here, we have Billy. I've raced with him. Well, he was actually in our Lodaja heat last year. I think he ended up on the podium. Super strong rider. To the left here, Tommy. This guy last year, he was also in my race. He went off the front in the first lap and stayed away the entire race. I've raced with him a couple times. He's a good dude, always really strong. Right here, we have Kelsey. He throws a flyer off the front. I happen to be on the front right here. And I knew that him and Tony were going to probably try some counterattack stuff. And so wasn't about to chase it. But then Tony, he gets on the front, gets in front of me. I didn't really like that, so I did put in a little effort here just to come around Tony and make sure I stayed connected to that front group. Here's a moment where it started getting fractured. This guy in the red, he sprints up, stays with that front group. I wasn't going to bridge it. I'll speed it up here. I pull off, trying to see if anybody else wants to come through. And it does take a while. Unfortunately, I'm on the front here, so I wanted to keep the pace high enough to at least be within striking distance, but I didn't want to be the one bridging it. Waited for some guys to pull through, jumped back in, got pulled back up to the front. My goal, as always, is usually to try to stay up near, I don't know, fifth wheel-ish for the whole race, just to be able to see what's going on, make sure I don't miss any crucial attacks or anything like that. But if it splits, if there's an effort that has to be made, I'll try to get someone else to do that. All right, last person that I'll point out here, Tom. I've never ridden with him before, but I've had a couple of friends that have. He's from the other side of the state, but he is the current Masters Crit champion, state champion. So definitely a guy to look out for. The best way I can describe him, he has a goatee, and he reminds me of like the cop that's definitely not going to let you off with a warning, with the quads of solid oak. Come up on these guys. They had just gone for a preem, and Tony is still up the road.
What's the gap? Let's go.
Try to motivate them a little bit to come along, see if we can stick this little gap that we have. I get on the front, start hammering. And this goes back to like not having any expectations, aka not having a plan at this race, just showing up and seeing what happens. This is the stupid stuff that you do. You get on the front and start drilling it, trying to stick a breakaway with a bunch of guys that aren't motivated, that just sprinted for a preem.
Hey, we can stick it. This gonna work. Let's go.
Tom comes through. He starts going. I tell Tom that this guy up the road will work, meaning Tony, because, I mean, he'll definitely slip in and start rotating through. He wants a breakaway to stick. But at this point, I start looking back and realizing the field's pretty close. It wasn't going to work. Come around this corner. Tom turns around as well. He sees the field behind us, and he lets up as well.
Free laps. No more free laps.
What's that? Oh yeah, bro. Always. You working for me, Tommy? Let's do it.
With 8 or so laps to go, Tommy rolls up next to me and says that he's willing to lead me out, which is awesome. Didn't have any teammates in this race, and I felt like I could still crack off a sprint, so I was pumped. All right, going back to not really having a plan here. You got Billy on the left. This is a preem lap. I see the finish like, oh, I might be able to get this. Billy fires it off, and then there's another guy in front of him. I quickly shut it down, realizing I don't want to burn that match, and slip back in. Once again, have a plan, folks. Have a plan.
One to go. 1 lap to go. 1 to go. 1 lap to go. Brian Cohen.
With 1 lap to go, we have Brian Cohagen up the road. Tony makes a move to go with it. I follow Tony kind of, but don't even really get on his wheel. It's at this moment that I realize that all the sprinters are still behind me. We got Brian in reach. We'll keep Tony in reach. There goes Tom Baird, state champ. Better get on his wheel, right? Nope, not fast enough. This guy gets on his wheel. Better get on that guy's wheel, right? Nope, still not fast enough. Get on this guy's wheel, right? Nope. Billy goes by me. Texas Roadhouse goes by me. And so all of a sudden I'm like 8th wheel. And this is the last corner here. And I totally blew it. If I just would have got on probably like Tom's wheel earlier on, kept that speed, then I would have been in a much better place to sprint. And here I am standing up to sprint, and all those guys are way in front of me. I end up rolling in for like 8th or 9th. Nothing to write home about. Guys, don't let this happen to you. Make a plan. Think about the last lap. Think about where you want to be on the last lap. And do not make the same mistake. Gosh, that's embarrassing. By the way, Tom, state champ, did win. Dang it.